Good evening. This is Scotty Sanders. Welcome to my Facebook Live, and I appreciate you joining me. So it's hard for me to believe, but this is actually episode 70. So if you've missed any of my prior episodes, you can certainly check it out on my Facebook page. But also you can go to scottysanders.com, and not only do I have these Facebook Live blog videos, but you can also check out a lot of other things that I'm involved in. So feel free to do that. So it's just been a great pleasure for me to get to do this. I hope it's been a blessing to you. And if you don't know me, and maybe this is the first time you've checked this out, my name is Scotty Sanders again. I'm an international leadership consultant. And what I love getting to do is helping leaders to lead well, because I believe when you lead yourself well, it gives you the opportunity to lead others well. And my purpose in life is to encourage and to empower others. And by the way, just a little note on your purpose in life, it should always be focused on others. So encouraging and empowering others to live, lead, and to finish well. So I hope I'll accomplish that with you tonight. So again, this is episode 70. Make sure you check out any of my prior Facebook Lives at scottysanders.com. So because it is the 70th, I wanted to do a very special edition. And this is really in honor of a dear friend of mine, and I'll tell you more about him in just a moment. But this talk is about lessons that I've learned from a Marine Colonel. And I'm going to be sharing with you about my dear friend, Marine Colonel Tim Coles. Not only is Tim a retired Marine Colonel, but he also is also the vice chairman of my nonprofit that I'm involved in, Quest of the Keys. The purpose or mission of Quest of the Keys is to provide relevant, innovative, creative character education resources to young people. And so Tim has a heart for that. He has a heart in pouring into young men and to women, and this is one of the ways that he gets to do that. But over the last several years, not only is Tim a dear friend of mine, but getting to work together at Quest of the Keys, we get to travel a little bit. So we've made multiple trips together over the years. And in those moments, I get to learn so much from him. I mean, you're in a car for 10 or 11 hours, and it's just almost like uplifting for me to just get to hang out with him. So over these last several years, there's been a few things, and I could probably go on for an hour, but I'm going to keep this to about 10 minutes. Maybe my 4 biggest things that I've learned from Tim, lessons that I've learned from him over these last few years. So life lessons I've learned from Marine Colonel Tim Coe. So here's the first one. Encouragement is something everyone needs. And Tim is just fantastic about that. I've always considered myself an encourager, but really I'm a lightweight compared to Tim. I got to see him in action, and really that comes from a heart of wanting to encourage people. But it's just a reminder to me, it doesn't matter where you come from, how old you are, what's your background, success or no success. Everyone needs encouragement, and Tim knows that, and his focus is encouraging others. I've watched Tim in action, and it could be a young person out there that maybe we're at a school and speaking and encouraging along the way, or it could be a person that's a CEO of a large company or own a billion-dollar company. It doesn't matter. Tim understands that everybody, no matter where they come from, where they are in life, that they need encouragement. And here's the thing I've learned from Tim. Encouragement is something everyone can do, and I think he encourages in a way to encourage others to be encouragers. Now, I know that's a lot of encouraging there, but it's almost like that virtual circle. You encourage someone, they see the importance of it. It really encourages them to encourage other people. And Tim is very intentional about his encouragement. He looks for ways to encourage people. So that's my first big one is with Tim. If you've ever been around him, you'll be uplifted, you'll be encouraged, but he understands everyone needs encouragement. The second thing I've learned from Tim over the years is this. He asks good questions, very thoughtful questions, not just yes and no, but very open-ended, but questions that really have some heart behind it. He's just the absolute master at asking questions, and I've learned so much from him in doing that. And part of the reason why I think he's so good at doing that is that he is so other focused. asking good questions it's about others. It's not about yourself. And the other thing I picked up from Tim is that he listens well. So when he asks a question and they give him the answer, he's listening in a way that he'll have a good follow-up question, or he may have another question to go a little bit deeper with that person. So he listens well. He listens with his heart. Here's a third thing that I've learned from Colonel Tim Coe is this: connecting is more important than communicating. Connecting is more important than communicating. So let me tell you one quick story. This is going back probably in the last year, maybe 6-7 months ago now, and maybe not quite that long ago now that I think about it, that Tim and I were back in my hometown. We were talking to educators. We were talking about corporate sponsors and funding opportunities for Quest of the Keys. And one of the nights that I was there and Tim was there with me was available that I could take my mom out to dinner. And so I wanted Tim to go with us. And of course I was thinking a little bit, what is this Marine Colonel going to have in common with my mom? And how would this dinner go? Now, you'd have to know my mom. My mom she's a conversationalist. I mean, she's never met a stranger. She's very outgoing, but still, what will my mom and this colonel have in common? And I just, honestly, I sat back in amazement. It's almost like I didn't even have to be at the dinner. These two just kind of take over the conversation, because what Tim found out from my mom is that she wore glasses at a very early age. I think when she was 5 years old, she was wearing glasses, and she wore glasses up until she was about 70-something years old. And in the last few years, she had cataract surgery. She didn't have to wear glasses anymore. But the same thing was the case with Tim. He had to wear glasses at a young age, and then he had cataract surgery. And it was like they had this emotional connection. It was an emotional experience. I know my mom kind of teared up. I think Tim may have teared up a little bit. But they were able to connect kind of at that heart level because they both experienced something I couldn't identify. I couldn't really connect with that because I've never worn glasses. But for them, it was a life-changing event that happened in their life, that they've been wearing glasses all of these years and they didn't have to wear it anymore. And I just thought to myself, but Tim, he looked for an opportunity to connect with my mom, but that's an example with her, but I could give you many more where he finds that point of connection. It's just amazing to me. And here's the deal there. We all communicate, but we don't all connect. And that's a great lesson I learned from Tim. We all communicate, but we don't all connect. Communicating is from the head. It's knowledge. It's our experiences. But connecting really comes from the heart. And I got to see that in person, firsthand with my mom and many others. And also connecting is sharing an experience together. They definitely had this experience they were able to share. And it was meaningful and life-changing for both of them. So that was the third thing. Connecting is more important than communicating. Here's the fourth one. Don't play up your accomplishments. Now here's a guy, he's a retired Marine colonel, but he really doesn't talk about himself. People ask him questions, but he doesn't just openly share. And it's not that he's trying to be coy or aloof or not non-transparent, but he just doesn't want to play up his accomplishments. And so on these trips, when I'll bring him to meet with someone that's never met a Marine colonel, they're asking him different questions. And so I learned some things about Tim in these visits. And not that Tim shared these things with me, but I learned it from other people asking him specific questions. Now, it maybe says that I'm not a great question asker, but one of the things I learned about Tim is that he was what you call a maverick. So he didn't go in as a officer and I guess an enlisted man or something. He went in and went the hard way. So he was a maverick and worked his way up as a private to become a colonel. The other thing I learned is, you've heard the term full bird colonel, which is the highest, I guess, rank for a colonel. But, he would never say that unless he's asked that. But I found out he's a full bird colonel. The other thing I found out about Tim is that Tim is somewhat of a logistical expert, that he oversaw the logistics for 60,000 warriors in a war theater. So he had a huge responsibility to make sure they had the equipment, the ammunition, the food, and so forth they needed to survive and to defend what they needed to do. Man, that's a big responsibility. Well, I didn't know that until I was out with Tim, and he didn't share it unless someone asked him about it. Here's another thing I found out. Tim was one of the point people involved in President Obama's first inauguration. I mean, what a responsibility. But again, those aren't things Tim would tout. He wouldn't talk up his accomplishments. People would ask him different things that he's done, and he would share those things. But I was just super impressed in his humility, and it just says a lot to me about a person that doesn't have to talk about their accomplishments. So here's a few things under that. Let others ask you questions. You know, that's how he was able to share a little bit about what he did, by questions that were asked, not him volunteering that information. And here's another thing I've always said, and I found this to be the case with Tim. If you're good, you don't have to tell people you're good. Tim doesn't have to tell people that. But when you get to know him, you realize this guy is accomplished. He's had great authority, great leadership. So again, 4 life lessons that I learned from Tim. And again, I could give you 40, but these were 4 that really spoke to me. I hope it's helping you. And to my friend, Marine Colonel Tim Coe, I just want to say to you, I'm so grateful for you and your friendship, your encouragement to me. And I know you like to tell people I'm your mentor, but I really see it the other way. And maybe it's some mutual mentoring we could do. You know, it talks about in the Bible that you know, iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens other. And I definitely feel that way. Well, listen, Tim, I want you to know you keep leading well, setting a great example. And I'm glad I was able to share this with our audience of a person that's poured into me that I've learned from. And I hope it will help all of you that have checked this out today. And this has helped you today. I want to encourage you to hit the share button. And I can tell you for sure, when you do that, that encourages me. Well, until next time we get together, take care.